The Lost Canyon Cave Rescue. It was June 15th, 2015, a bright, clear day in Idaho's rugged wilderness. 18-year-old Jake Miller and his three friends, Sarah Mitchell, Kyle Donovan, and Emily Reeves, had planned an adventurous trek into the infamous Lost Canyon Cave. Renowned locally for its stunning crystal formations and treacherous passageways, the cave attracted thrill-seekers and seasoned cavers alike. Excitement buzzed through the group as they packed their gear: headlamps, climbing harnesses, ropes, and backpacks filled with water and snacks. None of them were novice explorers, yet none had ever tackled Lost Canyon Cave's notoriously difficult Devil's Passage, a winding, claustrophobic crawlway infamous for trapping even seasoned spelunkers. The friends arrived at the cave's entrance at 10 a.m. Sunshine flooded the lush surroundings, birds chirped cheerfully, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, an idyllic scene concealing the looming peril that awaited them underground. Sarah, the most cautious, checked their equipment meticulously, ensuring every headlamp was functional and each rope secure. "Everyone ready?" she called out. The group exchanged confident nods. Stepping into the cave felt like entering another world. The temperature dropped dramatically, the warm sunshine replaced by damp chill. They switched on their headlamps, the narrow beams slicing through the impenetrable darkness. Water droplets echoed softly, dripping from stalactites above, and the air smelled musty and ancient. For the first 2 hours, the exploration was exhilarating. Stunning crystalline structures glittered in their headlamps, and deep caverns opened into magnificent chambers. But soon, they reached a narrow tunnel, the dreaded Devil's Passage. Jake, always eager to lead, peered into the cramped darkness. "It's tight," he announced, "but doable." His voice echoed softly, adding a surreal quality to their environment. Without hesitation, he lowered onto his belly and began crawling forward. Kyle followed next, then Emily, with Sarah taking up the rear. The tunnel was barely wider than their shoulders, its jagged walls pressing painfully against their arms and sides. After 10 grueling minutes, Jake reached a spot where the passage narrowed drastically, curving sharply upward. "Hold up," Jake called back, his breathing slightly strained. "This part's tricky." Jake maneuvered carefully, pushing upward with his knees and elbows, contorting his body to pass through. Kyle followed, grunting as he squeezed through behind him. But Emily hesitated, anxiety creeping into her voice. "Guys, I don't think I can do this," Sarah encouraged gently from behind. "You got this, Em. Just take it slow." Emily nodded, drawing deep, calming breaths before attempting the maneuver. As she twisted her body upward, she felt her jacket snag sharply on the rough limestone. Panic surged as her movements became restricted. "I'm stuck," Emily's voice cracked with fear. "Stay calm," Sarah said quickly, trying to hide her own anxiety. "Can you shift back?" "No, I can't move." Emily's breaths quickened, echoing sharply in the confined space. Ahead, Jake and Kyle, having reached a wider chamber, quickly scrambled back. Kyle reached out, gripping Emily's outstretched hand. "I've got you," he reassured her. "Push forward when I say." Emily pushed with all her might, but her jacket tightened even more. The harder she struggled, the more immobilized she became. Minutes stretched into an hour. Emily's body trembled, muscles cramping from her strained, awkward position. The group's nerves frayed, the oppressive darkness amplifying their fear. Then suddenly, Emily gasped sharply. "Something shifted. I think the rock moved." A low, ominous rumble vibrated through the tunnel walls, shaking loose dust and small pebbles onto their helmets. The cave seemed to breathe around them, groaning as if angered by their intrusion. Jake's voice tightened, dread evident. "Emily, stop moving. Everyone, hold still." They waited in agonizing silence, each heartbeat echoing in their ears. Emily's sobs grew softer, her exhaustion overtaking panic. But then, with a sudden loud crack, a heavy slab of rock collapsed from the ceiling behind them, blocking their retreat. Sarah screamed as the tunnel filled with choking dust. "We're trapped!" Outside the cave, the sun dipped low toward the horizon, unaware of the crisis unfolding deep beneath the surface. Back in the tunnel, Jake quickly assessed their predicament. "We can't go back. Our only hope is forward. Emily, we need to get you unstuck." The group's determination solidified into desperate resolve. Kyle used his pocket knife, slowly and carefully cutting Emily's jacket away from the snagged rock. Each each second feeling like an eternity. Finally, with a final cut, Emily slumped forward, collapsing onto Kyle in relief. "We're not out yet," Jake reminded them grimly. They pressed forward, carefully inching through increasingly narrow passages. The air grew thin, each breath harder to draw than the last. But ahead, hope flickered. "I feel fresh air!" Jake shouted, renewed energy coursing through him. The others felt it too, a slight but undeniable breeze. With new determination, they scrambled forward, emerging eventually into a small but stable chamber with a high opening overhead, moonlight spilling softly through. Jake scrambled upward, using ropes and sheer determination. His muscles screamed, fingers bloody from gripping the abrasive rock, but finally, he hauled himself into the cool night air. He immediately dialed emergency services, voice trembling. "We need rescue at Lost Canyon Cave. We're trapped. Please hurry." Rescue teams arrived swiftly, their powerful floodlights slicing through the darkness, illuminating the cave entrance ominously. Expertly trained responders moved efficiently, reassuring Jake as they descended back into the chamber. Sarah, Emily, and Kyle huddled close together, relief washing over them as rescuers guided them through newly cleared paths. The journey was painstakingly slow and exhausting, but each step was a victory. Finally, just after dawn, the entire group emerged, shivering and emotionally drained, but alive. Paramedics swiftly wrapped them in thermal blankets, treating them for shock and mild hypothermia. As sunlight flooded the scene, the stark contrast between their night of terror and the peaceful morning seemed surreal. Jake turned to his friends, tears of relief streaming down his face. "We made it," Sarah laughed weakly, gripping his hand tightly. "Next adventure, let's stay above ground." The Eagle Rock Cave Rescue. On a chilly autumn morning, October 23rd, 2017, 4 college students, Ben Carter, Olivia Reed, Liam Thompson, and Mia Nguyen, set out for an adventure into Kentucky's Eagle Rock Cave. Known for its expansive chambers and hidden pitfalls, the cave had a haunting reputation. Stories circulated about explorers who had ventured in but never returned. Excitement and nerves mingled as the group prepared their equipment: helmets with headlamps, ropes, first aid kits, and ample provisions. They had studied cave maps thoroughly, but the warnings about the maze, an intricate labyrinth of passageways, lingered in their minds. Arriving at the cave entrance at 9:30 a.m., they admired the breathtaking wilderness. Crisp air filled their lungs as they exchanged confident smiles, unaware of the impending danger. Mia, always meticulous, performed a final equipment check. "Everyone good?" she asked. Affirmative nods followed. Descending into the cave, the temperature plummeted sharply. The beams from their headlamps danced along damp walls, revealing beautiful formations and pools of still water. The silence, heavy and profound, underscored their isolation. Initially, their progress was smooth, marveling at nature's artistry. However, after an hour, they reached the feared maze. Ben, confident and adventurous, volunteered to navigate first. He took the lead, carefully marking their path with chalk to avoid becoming disoriented. Soon, however, Ben realized something was wrong. The passages twisted unpredictably, and familiar landmarks disappeared. Panic crept into his voice. I think we're lost." Tension gripped the group. Olivia tried calming the mood. "Let's retrace our marks." But their markings had mysteriously vanished, erased by moisture and dripping water. Desperation grew as hours passed without finding their way. Suddenly, Liam slipped, his scream echoing sharply. "Help! I'm stuck!" he cried, wedged painfully between 2 slippery rocks. His breathing accelerated, panic evident. The others rushed to his aid. Mia, using a flashlight, examined his predicament. "Liam, don't move," she instructed, noticing his ankle twisted at an unnatural angle. Ben and Olivia attempted to free Liam, but each attempt intensified his agony. Hours dragged by, hypothermia becoming a genuine threat. Fearful and exhausted, Olivia decided, "We have to get help." Leaving Ben and Mia to comfort Liam, Olivia navigated the maze, driven by sheer desperation. After a grueling hour, she emerged into daylight, immediately contacting emergency services. Rescue teams arrived swiftly, equipped for the cave's challenges. Navigating the maze carefully, they reached Liam, whose condition had deteriorated significantly. Using hydraulic tools, rescuers painstakingly freed him, securing him on a stretcher. After a harrowing extraction, Liam was airlifted to safety, treated urgently for hypothermia and fractures. The rest, traumatized yet grateful, emerged from the cave at sunset, emotionally spent but relieved. Reflecting on their near tragedy, Mia sighed. Next adventure? Maybe something safer, like a movie. The Shadow Cavern Rescue. It was a humid summer day, July 18, 2019, when three adventurous friends, Jasmine Patel, Lucas Green, and Natalie Brooks, set off to explore Shadow Cavern in Tennessee. Known for its enigmatic depths and hidden dangers, the cavern had recently attracted attention for its beautiful subterranean lake. Yet warnings were abundant about unstable pathways. The trio gathered their supplies, high-powered headlamps, climbing gear, life jackets, and emergency provisions. Lucas, known for his boundless enthusiasm, reassured his friends, "It's going to be epic." Jasmine and Natalie smiled, though anxiety simmered quietly beneath their excitement. They reached the cave entrance around noon, sunlight filtering through lush foliage, masking the cavern's ominous reputation. After a thorough equipment check by Jasmine, they began their descent into darkness. The cool, damp air contrasted sharply with the oppressive summer heat outside. Initially, their exploration went smoothly, their headlamps illuminating impressive stalactites and sparkling mineral deposits. After 2 hours, they arrived at the lake chamber, a breathtaking sight with crystal-clear waters and reflective surfaces shimmering in their lights. Captivated by the scene, they carefully navigated around the water's edge, wary of slippery rocks. Suddenly, the ground beneath Lucas shifted violently. With a startled yell, he plunged into an unseen pit, landing painfully 15 feet below. "Lucas!" Natalie shouted, her voice echoing desperately. "I'm hurt," he replied weakly. His leg was bent awkwardly, trapped under debris. The pit's walls were steep and unstable. Jasmine, maintaining composure, quickly assessed their dire situation. "Lucas, don't move. Natalie, call for help." Natalie frantically dialed emergency services, explaining their predicament with shaking hands. Meanwhile, Jasmine carefully descended using ropes, aware that one misstep could cause further collapse. Reaching Lucas, she saw the severity of his injury, a broken leg and possible internal damage. As time passed, Lucas's condition worsened, his face pale with shock. Hours crawled by in tense silence, punctuated only by Lucas's pained breaths. Rescue teams arrived swiftly, expertly navigating the cavern's challenges. With precision, they rigged ropes and pulleys, delicately freeing Lucas from the rubble and stabilizing his injuries. After several painstaking hours, Lucas was safely lifted from the pit and airlifted to the hospital, where he underwent immediate surgery. Jasmine and Natalie emerged from the cavern at dusk, exhausted but grateful. Later, visiting Lucas at the hospital, Natalie joked softly, "Next trip, we're going somewhere flat." If you enjoyed this intense cave rescue story, subscribe to our channel for more extraordinary adventures and leave your comments and suggestions below.